So Stimulus started in 2011 as an idea brought about pretty much because I moved back from the UK, and a lot of the people that I got to know when I moved back here were entrepreneurs, or were trying to start or run some kind of a business, and most of them inefficiently. And the three main issues were either they didn't have any business training, though they were good at what they did, or they didn't have the right network, so they didn't know you or your uncle or whoever it is that you need to open that door, or they just lacked mentorship and just in the general context of being a leader. So because of that, they were not succeeding. And I had I think my father went to school with the then head of the PTA Bank, Michael Gondwe, who was over at our house visiting, and I was ranting about how it's insane how these guys are not doing well and they've got such great ideas, and the environment, which was much better than it is now, ironically, was not conducive. And he was like, well, why don't you do something about it? And I was like, oh, okay. And so Stimulus is what I did about it, essentially, which is then being able to provide training, mentorship, networking, and create an environment that was conducive to growing a sustainable business. So that's the audacious sort of mandate of Stimulus. Since April 2011, so I started as pretty much just as a networking platform with some training, and then over time I discovered or learned about hubs and what they do, and I was like, hey, that looks like us, that looks like what we do. So we then evolved or pivoted into a hub. That's how it started, and then from there it's just sort of grown and evolved. So in the beginning it was literally, hey, are you running a business? Great. Well, I'm trying to run a business. Let's get together over coffee, and I'm having a challenge with Zimra. Have you faced Zimra yet? Or I'm having a problem with X, Y, or Z. Oh yeah, well I did that, and this is how it happened. Or I know somebody who can assist you with that. And from there it evolved into, obviously, we got a space and opened the Innovation Center last year, a year now, almost. And now also then have, the space for people to get business coaching and to have a place you can come to. You can identify where you can get help if you're stuck, somewhere where you can work, rent a meeting room, rent a training room, So it's just slowly sort of evolved over the years. The inspiration behind that, again, it's part of under our mentorship platform, where most people don't get, before I went to Addis, I had a 4-hour coffee and chat with Nancy Gusha, who is one of my heroes in the private sector. And the average person, well, Nancy doesn't have that kind of time to be going door to door and sort of giving, mentorship and guidance and advice to entrepreneurs. So the idea of the CEO Masterclass was to then bring entrepreneurs together and have a group, not too big a group, but have a group that can then hear from a captain of industry or someone who has great experience. And in that way, you're sort of being able to get the access that you wouldn't necessarily get on your own. So in 2014, in November 2014, that was the year that the Global Entrepreneurship Week introduced the Women's Entrepreneurship Day on the 19th of November, and on that same day we launched the Stimulus Women's Network. And the reason we did that is because we noticed that a lot of women didn't really participate in a lot of what we were offering, and yet a lot of women are involved in small and medium-sized businesses in one way or the other. And being a mom now, I understand why. It's hard to leave work and then go to a networking event or a training course when you've got kids and homework and all that sort of stuff. So what we decided to do is to create a platform specifically to support women and find ways to support them wherever they are, and to have that flexibility. And also the fact that there are a lot of challenges that come with being a woman who owns a business and who then also has family, etc. So to be more holistic in the offering of programming. And from then until sort of last year, we sort of tracked with the different women that we worked with. We've done several partnered, funded programs with women, and the challenges that they all faced were the same in terms of just trying to get out there. But once you've taken the step, you've started your business, then it's like, okay, now how do I push this forward? And for a lot of women, it's either, I don't have access to market, or I don't know how to market myself and my business, or I don't have the time and the skill set and the money to even get somebody else to do it. So how do I break that sort of ceiling? So this is why we then came up with Choose Women Buy Local, which is then a platform and almost a label in a way that will eventually, as it grows, will position women-owned businesses, but not just women-owned businesses generally, women-owned businesses that are making things locally, because we also understand that if we're not creating jobs in our local environment, ultimately a woman will suffer because her children will go hungry, or she will have to, I don't know, migrate, and human trafficking is now huge, where sexual exploitation is at the top of the list of reasons. So if we can get women to build businesses that are local and get them to make products locally, so cottage industry right the way through to services, then we're actually creating jobs, because not everyone is an entrepreneur. So the combination of woman-owned or woman-run and local products, local service, is what inspired Choose Women Buy Local.
These and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.